on the Drew.
Sure. Okay, so welcome everybody. I'm here with two gurus of the fitness industry, Michael Mantell Dr. Michael Mantell, I beg your pardon, in San Diego, and down in Ballarat, the guru, particularly in the group exercise and driving a business, Mel Tempest. So, hi guys, and we're going to share some ideas. Hopefully, we don't all agree on everything, because what's the saying, when two people agree on everything, one of them's not needed.
I like that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's something you can use at the kitchen table over dinner.
And we started, the prompt for this meeting was really how we could, because of there's a global problem with employers, not just in the fitness industry, to attract and recruit employees, and and the churn of employees. And we started talking about, gee, how about mature age employees, because they could really have a very fulfilling career, even if it's casual or part-time, a few hours a week, or permanent within the fitness industry. And I think many operators simply don't consider, gee, how about recruiting mature age employees? Now, and as I said to Mel, that might be like a needle in the haystack if they're saying, if I need to recruit fully qualified people who live in the area, who are looking for work, gee, that might be difficult. But what if I took upon some responsibilities to train them or to be involved in their training? Maybe there might be some people who are interested, who don't even perceive themselves as fit or slim or whatever like that, but are interested in extra work, interested in health, interested in helping other people. Maybe there is, a group of people that could be fantastic value delivering long-term employees. And often mature age people, they may have another source of income, or they don't require a high level of income. And many of us have known people who've come out of the profession saying, I'm sick of being a lawyer. I want to do something that's more fulfilling. And as a matter of fact, I do know a personal trainer in Brisbane who gave up his career as a dentist in a dental practice, and he's a personal trainer specializing in boxing for mature age members, and book solid. Fantastic.
It is. I think one of the problems that our industry has at the moment, and correct me if I'm wrong, is perhaps one of the reasons that club owners aren't looking at the mature audience is because the majority of trends that are out there, are marketed to a younger age group. So therefore they feel they have to employ younger people to attract younger people, because all of the latest trends and everything are for younger people. I'm finding in my own club, it's so hard to find any staff, regardless of the age, whether it's young or whether it's the older age group. But I suppose my question to everybody in the industry is, what determines an older age group? Is it like you wake up one day and you're 50 and you're considered old? Because I just turned 57 and I certainly don't consider myself to be an older person. And I'm not shy in saying, if people half my age can do what I do every day, then they should be applauded. So who decides where older age starts, and why are we as an industry not going out there and focusing on older people to employ, instead of chasing young people all the time? Because let's face it, at the moment, I feel that anybody above 35 is probably more reliable in the workplace as opposed to younger people. And I'll give you an example. We just put a young girl, 23, 24, through 8 weeks of training on the front desk. Gorgeous to look at, great rapport with the members, traveled every day for half an hour to come to work. And last week she handed in her notice, and she handed in her notice not because she didn't like the job, but the job was actually getting in the way of the things that she wanted to do during the day, and were playing a little bit of havoc with her social life. So COVID has created a different outlook for people on life in general, in all age groups. And therefore, we are in recovery mode, not just to keep our businesses functioning, but we're also trying to find new team members. So I'd love to hear everybody's thoughts on why we as an industry aren't going out there and doing more marketing to attract people over 35, over 40, and say, you are quite acceptable in our workplace and we would love to have you on board.
Well, what are your thoughts, Michael?
Weigh in on this. First of all, let me thank you both for inviting me to be participant with you both. You are by far the sterling leaders in this industry that I look up to, and I enjoy chatting on Facebook and the other places where we share each other's posts. Okay, so look, first of all, there's a gerontologist by the name of Walter Bortz, B-O-R-T-Z, M.D., Roman numeral 2 after his name, Walter Bortz. He's a professor at Stanford. I'm not sure he's still there anymore, but he wrote a book called Dare, D-A-R-E, to be 100. And he said that we have enough of a fund of information to assure people, young people and older, to begin planning the celebration of their 100th birthday party, and be sure you actually start to create the invitation list, who you're going to invite to your 100th birthday party. Okay. We are in a different world today. I'm 73. I think I'm only 40.
He's looking good. You're looking good.
I don't know. I mean, but okay. So my wife is 72. She's a fitness trainer. She has clients in her home and in homes that she goes to, not in the gym. So I think that we are in a very different world. The data tells us that baby boomers, older folks, spend more time in the gym than younger people do, though younger people, by percentage, belong more to gyms. Okay. I go to the gym and I see, my age cohort and so forth, spending a lot of time in the gym, but more time than I do. For them, it's social. But the number one reason they are there is for health and longevity. Mm-hmm. That's it. Health and longevity, not for, this and health and longevity. I think there is ageism that we just have to face. Mm-hmm. There is stigma in the fitness industry, in the health industry. I just got finished speaking to a very high-end luxury continue care retirement community, very, very upscale. And I gave a talk to the residents and another talk to the staff. The talk to the staff was, you can't say to somebody, oh my gosh, you guys are so cute. Mm. Oh, look at the two of you, you're still holding hands. Still, that's a dirty word. So I think that we need to look at as I've said about with obesity, the pictures. Well, I just sent you both a short summary video of a recent fitness convention that just took place. And who was there? Elaine Lillane.
Wow.
Queen, right? This woman is incredible. The last time I saw her a couple years ago, she beat me in push-ups.
I remember seeing Jack LaLanne on stage once.
Oh my goodness. Well, in any case, I think that we need to look at recruitment and then retention. Mm-hmm. And I think we need to train the front desk staff not to do this condescending or over accommodating or what I call under accommodating language. That will help. Mm-hmm. Gym owners need to understand that an enormous demographic of membership is in the older group. They're there because they want health. And that's what the fitness industry is selling today. So I could go on, but I'm going to give you a chance to talk.
Yeah, I'm going to really focus or challenge anybody, club owners or operators, club managers watching this is And Mel, you mentioned the word trends, and sure, it's good to be up to date with trends, but actually, I've got a book here by Will Phillips from Roundtable American, and he said responsible managers get results, which is hitting your profit targets and hitting your sales targets. And I suppose my question is the EFT from a 60 or 70-year-old member, the direct debit in Australia, we use that term, is the EFT just as valuable as the EFT or direct debit from a 25-year-old member? If they're both paying, I don't know, $60 a month, $60 a month, surely they are equally as valuable to the bottom line of the business. And, club owners have to think not just where the trend is, where their segment is, but ideally there are multiple segments that they can appeal to. And so they can do multi-segment marketing for members and have multiple segments of staff members too, which is the challenge. I'm 69, and I hope to, when I'm 73, be as fit and healthy as you are. But I am completely convinced of the value of age reversal. You talked about longevity, age reversal, staying strong. Unfortunately, I have an older brother who is exactly your age, Michael. He and his wife are too frail, because of medical conditions, to babysit their grandkids. Mm. So they're not interested in how they look, but it's how they function. They just too frail to babysit their grandchildren. And my brother walks around the block with a walker, which is great that he's doing that.
Right.
But I am absolutely convinced that the community is ignorant of the benefits of resistance training for life, to stay strong and to maintain mobility and to fight against frailty, to maintain a quality of life. There's no doubt that when people fall over and break a hip, the likelihood of them dying soon after is high statistically, and this is entirely preventable. And it's my view that because it goes undiagnosed, lack of strength, a proxy for lack of strength is simply a hand grip dynamometer, which you can measure in literally 20 seconds. And a GP for anybody over 50, after taking their blood pressure, GP, general practitioner, doctor, physician, could simply do a hand grip dynamometer and say, hey, gee, you are under optimal. I think you should start resistance training, and only for the rest of your life. And here's a list of local gyms you could go to who offer resistance training equipment, supervision, and programming, and that can change your life. Even if you go once a week, twice a week, can literally be just 30 minutes once or twice a week.
But
and
Jamie,
make a difference.
Sorry, Jamie, but let's look at the bigger picture of that. Yeah, you're correct in saying that the doctor should say go to a gym that does weight training. But whose fault is it that your brother walks the block on a walker? Is it his fault because he just didn't want to do anything? Or B, is it our fault as an industry because we don't educate consumers enough that they need to be resistance training and that they need to be going to gyms? Is it our fault as an industry that we don't tap into medical practitioners and educate them on what gyms offer? Because I'm sure that if your brother had been well informed and educated 30 or 40 years ago on the benefits of movement, not just from the industry, but from the media and from his medical practitioner, that he wouldn't be walking the block on a walking frame.
That is true. But Mel, I'm going to temper my response by saying I'm only interested in responses that a single operator can do. And we've all heard the story of, all these starfish washed up on the beach, and all these marine biologists looked at this beach and it was black with all these starfish. And one of them noticed a little boy, about a mile down the beach, doing something, and ran down and said, "What are you doing?" And this boy was picking up starfish and throwing them back in the water. He said, "Son, you're not going to make any difference." And the little boy ignored this marine biologist, picked up another one, threw it in the water and said, I bet I made a difference to that one.
Right.
We've all heard that story. Anyway, so, and the point, Mel, that I see, particularly in social media, with industry pages of lots of, we should be doing this as an industry, and we could be doing this. So you're right. There are things we could be doing, but I really believe it's up to each club owner to say, what can you do locally? What can and here's the thought for you. People are more open to the benefits of a product or a service after they've purchased it than before. So a great place to start is educating your current members on the value of exercise. And for me, I'm biased towards resistance exercise for life. Make them the, what's the word, advocates, there's a better word, disciples, So start by educating the members who have already bought your service. This is the value of the service you have bought. Don't take that for granted. And then spread out from there, seeing within your local community what each club can do to educate, within their local community. Perhaps reaching out to local doctors with a handout on, the value of exercise, particularly for those people interested in age reversal. The doctors say, "What the hell is that?"
So Jay, let me suggest a couple of things that are a little bit out of the box. Mm-hmm. Not that there is a box, but a little bit more innovative, because we know the gym owner can go to the doctors. Hey, refer. We can. We know all that. Mm-hmm. We know the value of putting a picture of some guy who's 65, 75 years old on the treadmill, put him up on the thing instead of the 24-year-old. However, let's go upstream more. What if a gym owner and operator looked around and saw the same people that I see, they're there every day, and said to 4 or 5 of them, you guys and women are here every day. You are devotees. You are the best advocates for the health, the medicine of exercise and physical activity. You're not lifting tons of weight. You're taking care of yourself. I have an idea. How about if you become trainers? How about if you guys and women, I'll call the local certification organization. I will get a scholarship for you. I'll set up a certification through one of the bazillion certs that are out there. And let's get you to be trainers. And we'll teach you how to reach out to other people in the gym, to go out and to talk to them. Hey, let's do some elliptical together. Let's turn that thing down. You don't need to go that fat, whatever it might be. So that's upstream. Let's recruit them as trainers. Next, a big part of what holds older folks to the gym is the schmoozing, the social life of it all. They get on a machine and they're talking to their friend and they don't get off the machine and everyone's getting pissed off at them. And come on, how about if we create a little social gathering, every 45 minutes of physical activity? There's ways of being really creative. I also think training staff on how to talk with older people is very important. We don't want that, oh my God, you can still do that kind of language. Still is the filthy word. So I think that there are so many interesting things that can be done, from the marketing to let's get them as trainers at the beginning. Let's figure out ways to embrace them while they're there, talk to them in proper ways. These are things that truly can make a difference. We know that, I have a client who just saw a neurologist, one of the best neurologists in Manhattan. I mean, this is the person to go to. Here's what my client told me the neurologist told her. There's one medicine I can give you that I'm sure will have no bad side effects. Will assure that you don't even have to come back to me. It's going to get rid of the pain and you don't need surgery. It's a simple medication to take, but you got to take it like 4 or 5 times a week. And then my client said, oh my gosh, what is it? And he said, exercise.
Wow.
We know that.
Yeah.
True.
Well, they are great.
Sorry, Jamie, you go ahead.
Oh, no, I just want to summarize. Recruit members as trainers, bring in that social element to connect people, because definitely today, over the last 2 years, social isolation has been a psychic wound. People are lonely, and at all age groups, they're desperate for connection, and training staff. And I've got to say, almost recruiting staff who are good at talking to people at different ages too, where possible. And definitely, mature age, you would hopefully assume that mature age people have the experience and, the life experience that they can dialogue with people at all age groups.
So let me ask you both this then. We've come out of COVID. So here where I am located in Melbourne, clubs have been open for nearly 8 months without any lockdowns. And the majority of club owners are just trying to survive. Not all, but there are some out there that just trying to survive. And some of them are now accountable for their back rent for the last 2 years. And so they're really heavily focused on that. But at the same time, they need staff. And at the same time, they need foot traffic coming through the door. I totally agree with both of you. There's a lot of revenue to be made in the older age group. And I still hate saying that, but it's just what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But how can we get club operators just to stop for 10 minutes and to focus on what Michael has said and what you've said, Jamie? Because every time I speak to a club operator at the moment, their biggest concern is getting foot traffic into their group fitness classes. And as you would have read on social media, numbers have dropped by 50-60% for some clubs. People are preferring to work out in the gym environment or on cardio equipment, and I relate a lot of that to trends that are occurring on TikTok at the moment. But how can we get club owners just to stop for 10 minutes and to implement some of the resources that you're talking about today?
Okay, I've got a suggestion. This comes directly from Grant Gamble, experienced club operator in the States who has actually just returned home to Australia. And he had a concept called menu-based marketing. Now, I know most marketing today, or a lot of it, is online on social media and stuff like that. But I just, for a second, think about an old-fashioned marketing called letterbox delivery. Let's say you've got 2 flyers, okay? Now, the typical concept was, let's have a flyer with a membership promotion selling memberships so that people can get on program or come and do classes. The alternative is to have a conversation with your team members, your existing team members, and say, what different types of members do we have and what sort of different types of programs are they involved in, that we can package up those programs. And instead of selling memberships, we can have on the exact same flyer 4 or 6 or 8 different programs targeting different segments. Now, the cost of the paper is exactly the same, but instead of selling membership through which people get on a program or come to classes, we can promote programs through which people become members. And those programs can be multi-segment. So it can be strength training for seniors. It can be yoga mobility classes, or like that. It can be even some straight up membership offerings. And you just don't know which one's going to work, because if you have, let's say, 8 different programs, and some might be finite programs, such as a full week or a 10-day program or a 6-week challenge or whatever like that. You just don't know which one's going to work. It's sort of like the fisherman. He goes fishing and he uses 4 different baits. He doesn't know which one's going to work, but luckily, 1 or 2 does work. So, and then if that works, keep on pushing it and then try some other programs. So a club can use what's called menu-based marketing, promoting programs to different segments of their local population through which people become members, because ultimately it's up to the manager to get results, to build their EFT and survive.
I gave a talk recently. I just mentioned that for a residential community. And one of the talks I gave was called "A Mindset of Longevity."
Huh.
And I had a slide that talked about the importance of having hope, high hope. And I played a Frank Sinatra song, which you both probably are familiar with. High hopes he had, high. Okay. I played that, and the 80 or 90 people in the audience started swaying, and they all stood up and they were holding hands and they were singing, and they really had all that stuff. Now you go to a gym, what music do you hear?
Oh yeah.
Head bang, head bang, boop,
Boop,
boop.
boop, 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 right?
Unless you come before 12 o'clock to our club, you will get a bit of ABBA.
Oh, okay, there you go. That's great. But I think about some of the group exercise rooms. Oh my goodness, there's no way an older person is going to join a group X where she's screaming or he's screaming, come on, you can do it. I think that the offerings like you're talking about, Jamie, need to be focused on health and longevity. That's the words people in this age group, this demographic want to hear. Muscle, I was working out next to this guy who's a retired police officer, detective. And he said, I don't lift as much weight as you because I'm a little bit older. He's actually much younger than me. He said, I'm a little bit older and I don't want muscle. I just want some strength.
Yeah.
So he's lifting 30-pound weights, and that's great. That's fine. But if a trainer rewarded that, reinforced that in him, he'd love being there because he's getting this, look what I can do, as opposed to I'm only doing this. The mindset is different.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So can I ask you both a question, just shifting away from the age, even though this topic does affect all age groups, how can we get people who have weight issues active? I'll just give you an example in my own club. So we're a very non-intimidating environment. We have a very strong family culture feel about who we are. I have an extraordinary amount of people who have undergone weight loss surgery.
Oh,
So
interesting.
it's really actually quite bizarre. And the only reason that I've been alerted to this is because a staff member about 3 years ago underwent weight loss surgery, has since lost, I'm just going to guess now, but say around about 60 kilos. And during that period of time, she was in a Facebook group. And being in that Facebook group alerted her to other people in our community who had undergone weight loss surgery. So now we have a lot of people that are coming to the club once they've had their weight loss surgery to keep the weight off, What I want to know from you two is, what could we do so that they don't have to have the weight loss surgery? What can we do to get them up and active? Because yes, we do get people that have weight issues every day join our club, and they do a really great job at doing it on their own. But how can I, as a club owner, tap into them when I go to do social media stuff? How can I tap into them to get them to come into the club?
Okay, well, I can answer that super clear. Firstly, in Australia and America, about 2/3 of adults are overweight or obese. It could well be worse in some areas, depending upon socioeconomic areas, where it's typically worse. And let's assume half of those at some stage throughout the year think about losing weight, because there's a difference between needing to lose weight and wanting to lose weight. So let's say it's a third, 33%. And, the data in Australia and America is that, the percentage of the population that are members of a local fitness club vary between 8 and 16%. Look, in some areas it might be as high as 20%. But the fact is there's a gap between those people who are thinking of losing weight, the 33%, and the 15% who are active members of a fitness club. So they are thinking about losing weight, but not thinking of approaching a fitness club. And this is despite the fact that the most common goal for new members and PT clients is weight loss, because their assumption is, if I've got a few kilos to lose or pounds to lose, if I join a club and start exercising, I'll lose weight. The science doesn't support that. But it's a belief and we take advantage of it, and that's fine. And many members do lose weight because at the same time of joining the gym, they adjust their diet. But Mel, to answer your question, because I think it's a fantastic question, where exercise may not lead to weight loss, we've found the reverse is true. If you help people lose weight with or without exercise, they'll become more interested in exercise. They'll become more predisposed to exercise. So if you want more of your community to become exercise for life, which I firmly believe in, and if you want to recruit, if you want to be attractive to overweight people, help them lose weight, whether that includes exercise or not, and they'll start exercising when they're ready, and most likely start exercising with you. And that group are quite predisposed to the additional assistance from personal training as well. So it can be great for the club and great for the personal trainer. So that's absolutely doable. And in your menu-based marketing, of course, you can have a weight loss program that could be delivered either in the center or via Zoom, and that does not require nutritional experts in order to deliver a systemized weight loss program. But full disclosure, that's my business. So I don't want to necessarily pitch my business, but it is an opportunity for clubs to help people. And Mel, I can imagine what your thoughts went through your mind when one of your own team members goes and has weight loss surgery, which probably costs the healthcare system about $25,000, if not more. But good on her for taking action. And what you've observed is, as she's lost weight now, she is more prone to, and more predisposed to exercise. So weight loss does lead to exercise.
Yeah.
For that overweight.
She came to us as a size 20 employee. Mm-hmm. Her weight was never an issue for me. I employed her because she was a member who was consistently on social media promoting how welcoming our club was.
Fantastic.
And so I thought, wow, what a great person to be an ambassador for my club. I didn't care about her size. That wasn't an issue. And she'd been with us, I'm just going to guess now, for about 4 or 5 years. And then she had tried lots of different things and she made that decision, and we supported her in that decision. And now she helps other people through their journeys. But I still struggle with, and I get what you're saying, Jamie, but I still struggle with the psychology side of it, Michael.
Right.
And I hate using the word make, but I'm going to use it. How do I make someone realize if you don't lose weight, you're going to die?
Well, okay. So a couple of things. First of all, Jamie, you are the leading voice in this arena. This is your field. This is your business.
I'm one of them.
Well, yeah. I spent, I don't know, half a decade or so, maybe. First of all, I wrote my thesis back in the early 1970s on the psychological aspects of obesity.
Really?
My father died of obesity. I've dealt with it, and I don't mean my own obesity, but I've dealt with the issue for decades. For about a half a decade, I ran a behavioral coaching program at a upscale spa here in San Diego County for weight loss. Many of these people had the surgery and they gained the weight back. And Mel, I'm sure you see that's a very common experience. Jamie will support that. I think that we're fighting a couple of systems. The medical system pushes that surgery. They have a much stronger muscle than we in the fitness industry do, because half the fitness industry says it's not the gym, it's what you eat, and we're trying to sell come to the gym. So it's sort of like crazy making. And I like the idea a lot of a health center, a health club, i.e. a gym, on those 2 sheets that Jamie was talking about, recognizing that we have a healthy weight program in which we address the thinking, The eating, the moving, I call it THEMO, THEAMO. Think well, to eat well, to move well, to live well. And I think if you were to begin to market a program of healthy weight, where you focus on the psychology, the actual eating, and the moving, you're touching all the bases. And this would be not to tell people you don't need that weight loss surgery. This would be for people who've had it. I used to do the pre-psych exams for people who are having the weight loss surgery. In America, no bariatric surgeon would do that surgery without a psych eval first. And then they wanted a post-bariatric surgery program. What was that? That was the THEMO program, THEAMO, where people would join a gym that was focused on classes on how to think, how to eat, and how to move. Why? Because the surgeon wants success. And without a post-bariatric surgery program, people are going to gain the weight back. Yeah. So I think that there's opportunity here to touch those bases.
Yeah, to some extent, the healthcare system, bariatric surgeons and whatever like that, are a competitor. But they do provide an option, and it's a somewhat easy option. You just sign and turn up to hospital, and it all happens. And I think there's a perception that weight loss is difficult. It's too hard. I've tried everything, doesn't work for me. Most people simply haven't tried something that does work. But they use those terms. I've tried everything, nothing works for me, and it's entirely possible, for clubs to have an offering there. And I like the way you positioned it. It sounds very enticing, friendly, holistic. Think, eat, move, and things like that. There's no doubt that many people want to lose weight. It's for not just for aesthetic reasons. Sometimes it's not even for health reasons. And I like to quote Casey Conrad, who had a member in the States, a grandmother who needed to lose something like 100 pounds. And she said, the major reason I'm doing this is because I want to have a lap that my grandchildren can sit on, because her stomach, her apron of fat was so big that there was no room for her grandchildren to sit on her knee. And that was her motivation.
The idea of a gym aligning itself with bariatric surgery centers, there's something called, in America, I don't know if you have in Australia, bariatric surgery centers of excellence. And if the gyms there would align themselves with bariatric surgeons and say, what we want to do is we want to work with your patients before they have the surgery and then after the surgery. It will improve the likelihood that the surgery you did is successful. Now, they may have nurses and dietitians, nutritionists who work on the food part, but imagine if your gym became part of the certified bariatric surgery center.
Interesting. Now, I'm going, Mel, I can see, I'm trying to read your mind here, and I'm going to come up with a tip, because, I don't know medical system in the States, but definitely in Australia. One of the first things a doctor, be it a GP or a specialist, like a bariatric surgeon, will ask before referring is, what are the qualifications of your people? Because they are only used to referring to approved healthcare providers, exercise physiologists, dietitians, psychologists, etc. And there's a great marketing maxim I learned a long time ago, which is brag about known objections. And so, because in reality, to think better, eat better, and move better, often they need a program they can do. They need the supportive culture, and community they do, to say that they need to speak to an exercise physiologist or a dietitian is absolutely overkill, as long as you've got a screening process to identify those people who should see the dietitian, the exercise physiologist, the psychologist, whatever like that. And so to brag about known objections, say, hey, doctor, we've got a lifestyle program. It's called Think, Eat, Move, run at a low affordable cost by our trainers, the Cert 4 in fitness and things like that, to support people who are on that weight loss journey or at the end of their weight loss journey, so that they never put that weight back on, and so they can build their metabolism, build their mobility, and have a sense of community as well. And also the cost of it, because doctors are often sensitive to the cost, believe it or not, the cost of it is less than the copay. So in Australia, our system is that people can see typically have 5 funded allied health visits per year. For weight loss behavior change, we find that's completely inadequate. So that we recommend once a week for 52 weeks, like 50, not 5. So you can say to the doctor, look, of course you can refer them, but if they've got any of those visits left, it's just not adequate. So we've got a lifestyle-based program at low cost where what they pay us is less than the copay, because often the cost of going to see a dietitian is $150, but they might get $95 back off Medicare, which means the copay is $55. But our program is just $30 a week. So it costs them less, on a weekly basis.
Jamie, here's another idea that I've done with several bariatric surgery centers. The surgery, let's just pick a number, $25,000. Okay, doc, you want to be sure these people are successful. And you know what happens if you cut and you say goodbye? They're going to gain a lot of weight back. So why don't you charge $28,000 and you cover the gym for the year? So when I come to this bariatric surgeon, not only is he doing surgery, but they have an aftercare program that I actually go to my gym and I come back and meet with a psychologist or coach in his or her office, the nurse or whatever it may be. It's a true aftercare program. And I think that's a differentiator. Because if you're looking for the easy way, which is, why can't I just get these people to exercise? Well, we can't get most people to exercise, let alone someone who has had surgery and has 57 reasons why I can't exercise yet. The doctor hasn't, my stitches, but the idea of going way out and saying, I'm going to go to the bariatric surgeon and say, let's partner. We'll develop a program together.
That's fantastic. And you've just triggered a memory thought with me. I know that in our weight loss centers, when sometimes the center owners have had guest speakers, on one occasion, the most popular guest speaker was a plastic surgeon who removed the loose skin after weight loss. There was something like 50 or 60 women, mainly women, turned up, to listen to a presentation from the local plastic surgeon.
I've had ladies come up to me, Jamie, and say, what do you think of having a tummy tuck, or what do you think of having liposuction? And my response is always very short and sharp. And if that's going to make you feel better, then you go and have it done, because there's absolutely nothing wrong. And they're usually shocked when I say that, and I go, just go and have it done. It's not a big deal. But I've got 2 questions for you, and they're both different. The first question is, you both talk about, aligning with surgeons, et cetera, et cetera. But this is after the consumer has already made the decision to do something about their weight. How do I, just as a human being, how do I shift them from, I know I've got to do something about it, I'm going to this year, and then you hear the same conversation next year and next year and next year. How do I shift that from negative into positive to make that step so you can be having that conversation that we just had. That's the first thing. And second, can someone please explain to me what ageism is?
Why don't you go to Michael for the second? I can answer the first. Michael might be a better one than the second.
Ageism is stigmatizing people with age, and it goes up and it goes down. It's these erroneous beliefs about young people. That's ageism, but we think of it as older people. And when I say over accommodating, it's, oh, here, let me get that for you. Right. Under accommodating is the reverse of that. And the idea being not enabling of someone. So it's the language we use. It's the stereotyping we have. It's the picture in our mind. One of the examples that I give is, and this was actually a study done at Yale University, where people who have ageist beliefs, stereotypical stigmatizing beliefs that they hold about themselves, they live about 7.5 years less than people who have eliminated these. Is it different than racism or stigma with obesity? No, it's really not. And the data, the research says that it starts at about 4 years of age. The 4-year-old kid has a different view of what grandma and grandpa can do. And that's where it starts, and it carries through. And so I think that, that ageism is literally, I tell people, a killer. Just like not exercising. Walter Board says, for every hour you exercise, you gain 3 hours of life. If you don't believe the best years are ahead, you're killing yourself. Hope. People who have hope, positive expectation, which is not ageist, they tend to live longer, between 7.5, 10.5 years longer, the data tells us. As far as the other thing goes, motivational interviewing, perhaps, Jamie, you might want to pick up motivation.
And look, as a marketer, Mel, you and I are in marketing every day. I like the work by James Prochaska from Boston, who wrote the book Changing for Good. I think it was co-authored with somebody, and they talk about the stages of change. And I really think marketers, in saying, well, who is this marketing targeted to? What is the message they're going to respond to? Should try and categorize, their marketing. So the first is people in pre-contemplation, which means they're overweight, but they're not thinking about it. You put marketing in front of them, you put a flyer in the letterbox or an ad in front of their social media post, it'll be wallpaper. They won't even notice it. They're in pre-contemplation. Their friends, family, neighbors, and workmates are overweight and not thinking about it. You go to the local shopping mall and you'll see overweight women with their overweight friend, and they're both having a cappuccino and a muffin or something like that. They're not even thinking about it. And you're going to waste your dollars trying to put something in front of them. Now, federal departments, like health departments, might do it with the AIDS campaign, the drug campaign designed to shock people into action, with the body bag routine, sort of ads that they ran. But that's very, very expensive marketing, very, very expensive. At the next level, you've got pre-contemplation, then contemplation. People who are thinking about it, but not doing anything. And Tony Robbins, the motivational lecturer in the States, said they're using the word should there. And he says that they should all over themselves. And the goal of the marketer is to move them up the next level. So for instance, let's say you've got a lead box in a bank and people are lining up in the bank. That's not the people go to banks anymore. And they see the lead box. They don't want a membership, but there might be some really interesting offer. They say, oh, I have been thinking about that, looks attractive. Or if it's on their phone, it has to be a thumb stopper hook. Oh, I have been thinking about it, but not thinking about doing something now, And then the next level is people at research that they are thinking about and they're actually looking. Now, of course, where would they look? They'd probably look in Google and they'd ask their friends. So search engine optimization, you know, putting stuff in front of people who are looking, who are searching, makes sense. So here we're looking at a different medium, different message. And then you find you've got people who are taking action. They're buying some shoes, they've started walking, they've joined a club or a weight loss center or whatever, but they're doing something. And a normal part of action is relapse. So you've got another group here who have fallen off the wagon that you can market to, and that's a different message too. And then finally at the top, you've got people at completion. I was sure, because we're always interested in our own health, we probably put on our seatbelts every time we get in the car. We're at completion when it comes to seatbelts. Or we brush and floss our teeth every day, at least once or twice a day, because we're at completion on that health behavior. You know, and hopefully we can all think of members we've got in the club. They're at completion. Not coming to the club, doing their favorite class, doing their weights is not an option for them. You know, they are at completion. So, so it's really good for marketers to think about the stages of change. And I think the book is called Changing for Good by Francesca. And to say, match your marketing messages. But to Mel, to answer your question, it is very expensive going to the ones in pre-contemplation. You want to put the message in front of the people that are in contemplation or research or relapse. And because otherwise your marketing costs will blow out trying to market to people who aren't even thinking about it.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
I think knowing the right questions specifically. You said, how can I talk to these people? Mm-hmm. I think the questions need to be tailored to where that individual is on the stages of change. And that's where the motivational interviewing questions come in, the decisional balance. If you change, if you do lose some weight, what do you imagine it might feel like? And if you stayed where you are, how do you think you might feel in 6 months? And that's not going to sell to someone who's in pre-contemplation. That's going to piss them off, and they're going to turn away. This person's bothering me, and they don't want to hear that. So I think you have to know who to talk with about this and where they are, and there are signs that they give. My guess is that just because someone is in the club doesn't mean that they are in necessarily the preparation stage. They still may be pre-contemplation. I'm there to exercise, not to lose weight. I don't want to hear about my weight. I don't want to get all flyers and that. Just let me exercise and get out of here. So I think there's a sensitivity, knowing the person you're talking with, the preliminary interview as to what makes them join, what are their goals, what do they hope to achieve in 6 months as a member.
Yeah, and sorry, Mel, I'm just the motivational interviewing and what Michael just said can apply in the sales consultation conversation, but can also apply in how you craft your marketing, the words you're using in your marketing. Sorry, Mel.
First of all, the majority of teams in health clubs are certainly not trained in motivational interviewing. People walk in to buy a membership, they do the tour, and 9 times out of 10, the consumer signs up. I did a survey in my club just recently. I actually sent out text messages to just over 2,300 mobile numbers, of which I got approximately 250 something replies. I allowed the survey to be open for 24 hours only. I asked 4 questions, and the highest rating question was why did they join our club? And it was based on price. The second was non-intimidating, and then came, gym classes, etc., etc. So I think teams, sometimes we make it very, very easy for our front line to sell memberships, especially if people are purchasing on price. Definitely teams are not qualified, nor are they trained in motivational interviewing. I don't care what any club owner says. They are not trained in that, because if they were trained in that, people wouldn't be having the conversation right now that not enough people are coming back into gyms or training in classes, because if they were trained in motivational interviewing, that conversation wouldn't be had. I will say in my own club that the majority of people who are there to simply lose weight for various reasons, they train late at night. So I find that the majority of them come into the club once the staff are leave, once rush hour is opened, and they are there from 9 o'clock at night till about 6 a.m. In the morning, or they're there from roughly 12 o'clock in the afternoon till about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. They tend to avoid busy times, and they tend to avoid having to socially interact with people who are there who are already fit and healthy. So these are some of the things that I've picked up since the club reopened since COVID. I have a completely different demographic in my club as opposed to prior to COVID. And when I say that, I mean it wholeheartedly. We experienced, again, approximately 1,350 people cancelled their direct debits, but 1,330 re-signed, and they were all new people. We actually have more members now than what we did prior to COVID, but every single person I would say that has joined our club is there for weight loss and is there for their mental health. What concerns me is that our teams are so uneducated in both those categories that it could be a problem retention-wise to keep a hold of those people if we don't need their psychological needs, because they're both the same thing, whether they're there for their mental health or they're there for their physical look, it's the same thing. So I believe retention is going to be an issue for a lot of club owners. At the same time, attaining staff that are mature enough to be able to welcome those people with those issues and keep them on board.
Hey, Mel, about 2 weeks ago, roughly 2 weeks ago, I walked into the gym where my wife and I go, and the front desk typically is too busy on their cell phones or chatting with each other to say hello. And I walked in, I said, okay, hey, everyone, hi. And, oh, hi, how you doing, Doc? Good to see you. And I said, come over here, I want to teach you something. I'm not getting paid to do this, but I want to teach you something. When someone comes in and you do say hello, try saying this. Hey, great to see you. So what's your goal today? What's your goal today? And the young woman behind the counter said to me, oh, that's a cool question. Let me write that down. Okay. Can you say that again? Yeah, sure. What's your goal today? What's your goal today? Okay. In any case, I saw her the end of last week. I said, hey, how's that question? She said, oh my God, people are loving it. They'll go like, yeah, my goal, I'm gonna do 40 minutes, 20 minutes of cardio, 20 minutes of weights, and and they talk about it. That's motivational. A simple question.
Interesting. Pretty simple, isn't it? And Mel, I just have to share. I won't name the club or the owner, but a very smart club operator in Australia, actually in Queensland, who's put in 3 virtual fitness studios in addition to for virtual classes, in addition to classes run by instructors. And his research, the number was something like 55% of the people doing virtual listed one of their motivations was that there was not an instructor that would judge me. I didn't feel judged. And let's witness the growth of Planet Fitness, whose big mantra is judgment-free zone. And it's pretty interesting walking into one of those clubs and seeing the number of older and heavier people there who do not feel judged. So it's pretty interesting that there are clubs achieving fantastic outcomes, tapping into an untapped market segment, for the fitness industry, and all clubs can do that. Recently, I haven't joined a club since like 1978, because I did join and then started teaching, and then I've been a club owner ever since. So I haven't actually joined the club. And said I've been very grateful to be a member of a fantastic club, in Brisbane, where I went once a week for 30 minutes to do strength training. But I've just recently joined a boxing gym, and all the coaches are pro boxers. These are competitors. These are very dangerous people. But I have been amazed that they all come up to me. They all say, "G'day," fist bump. They're learning my name, helping with a bit of this, bit of that. The receptionist, she's a pro boxer as well. Just amazing people skills, and these are people from all around the world. Some of them hardly speak any English, but incredibly welcoming. And there are people in their boxing classes of different ages, and different weights. Clubs can be very welcoming, to this target market. Now, I think we've opened up a rabbit hole of different issues, and we could jump into those at another time. So I'm going to, Michael, put it to you, and Mel, put it to you for some closing advice for what a club owner can do, or a summary.
I'll jump into this. I have a saying. I'm not sure it's actually mine, but I've said it since I can remember. When one heart connects with another heart, that is communication. And when I teach the doctors that I consult with, it's not what's in the black bag that's healing. It's what's in the heart of the doctor carrying that bag. I think it's the same thing with fitness professionals, fitness trainers, exercise physiologists, all of us in the helping fields, wherever we go. When we really understand that our job is to look beyond the outside body and to understand, what is this person really here for? And how can I help him or her gain that? That's a gym, a health club that really will succeed. And I think the last point I want to make is very quickly. I think gym owners need to understand you can't call yourself a health club and just be a gym. If you want to be a health club, be a health club. Offer health offerings, whether it's classes or alignments or whatever information, whatever it might be. Talk about the health of exercise. That's my point.
Thanks, Michael. And Mel?
Jamie, I would love to see more club owners on a national level collaborate, because we've all got the same agenda. One is to create healthier communities, and two is to have healthier profits. And when we collaborate together, we can create a difference in our club, because we can feed off each other and learn from each other. One of the things that we did really well in our community throughout COVID lockdown, we created a local gym owners group. There was about 10 of us in that group, and we all helped each other through COVID, where some of them didn't have access to certain things and I had access to it. I shared it with them. Competition went out the door. We all had the same agenda. For most of them, it was about survival of the business and getting their doors open. But remember why we all opened a gym, and that was because we were passionate about what we do. We need to stop looking at each other as competitors and start to work together on a national level as collaborators, and imagine the difference that we could make to our healthcare system.
Fantastic. And my closing thoughts are, you can all take steps to educate your own members to the health benefits of the membership they have, and through your staff and through the team, so they become disciples in your local community. So guys, hey, thank you so much for joining us today. I will share this so that you guys can share it, and I will look forward to our next conversation. So I'm going to stop the recording now,